Okay, good day everyone. Today we will talk about the position paper. So at the end of the lecture, you are expected to be able to write your own position papers because this is a major requirement from you. Will have to submit your position papers individually. So I hope that you will be able to learn valuable insights and ideas on how to write position paper from this lecture. Okay, to start with, what is a position paper? A position paper is a kind of academic writing in which the student researches a controversial issue and writes a paper that explains his or her stand or viewpoint on it. So simply put, when we are writing a position paper, we are researching about a controversial issue and then provide background about this issue and then later on present our own opinion or stand about this controversial issue. Like for example, abortion. This is considered as a controversial issue. What is our stand on it? Do we support abortion or we are against about it? But before we can be able to present our stand and our opinion, we have to present first background about this particular issue. We have to research on different people who are considered credible and analyze their opinion about the particular issue. Okay, so the main goal of a position paper is to take part in a larger debate on the issue by stating and supporting your opinion or recommended course of action. Okay, so the major goal when we are writing a position paper is for us to present our stand or our argument or our recommended course of action or solution regarding the issue stated. Okay, the student required to research other papers on the issue. Okay, analyze them in depth and formulate his or her own argument on the matter. Before we can present our own argument or stand on the particular issue, we have to research other papers or articles related on the issue so that we can present a credible argument later on. We were able to weigh points, those who agree with this particular issue and those who do not. Okay, and what are the real world examples of controversial issues that you can research on? Examples are ethical dilemmas. Okay, for example, as pharmacists, you are not allowed to sell drugs over the counter, especially those considered as antibiotics. But what if you will be placed in a situation that calls for you to sell the drug, although it's not allowed? Like, for example, matter of life and death situation. Okay, the patient really needs the medicine right then and there because if he will not be able to take it, he might die. Okay, but you know for a fact, that selling antibiotics over the counter is not allowed or is not ethical. So what are you going to do? No? So what's your stand about it? Okay, so that's just one of the example of ethical dilemmas. There are a lot of ethical dilemmas that you can research on. Next, involving existing or soon to be formulated company policy. Okay, for example, there are existing policies that you do not agree, like for example, requiring students to really wear their school uniform and turn on their cameras during Zoom meetings and Google Meet. Okay, so what's your stand about it? Okay, so what's your stand about it? Do you agree with this particular policy or you do not agree at all? Next, arguments for or against legislation that may affect business. Like for example, curfew hours imposed to the local businesses. Do you agree that during pandemic, local businesses or other forms of businesses have to operate from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. only? Okay. Um, what are your stand about it? Okay, do you agree or disagree? Okay, so there are a lot of issues that you can research on. Okay, analyzing other position papers. Now, what are we going to look for when we are analyzing position papers of others? And what will our target readers would also look for in our paper when we are to write our position paper? Number one, Did the writer analyze the controversy and discuss what others have said about it? Okay, so when we read position papers, no, we have to look for if the writer was able to discuss, no, the opinions of other people, what others have to say about a particular issue. In the same manner, when we are to write our position paper, we also have to make sure that we are able to discuss different points of view, different opinions, no, of different individuals, no, to make our position paper more credible. Okay, what are the various positions on the issue? What are the strengths and weaknesses of each? Did the writer cite sources of information and provide a reference list for readers who want to read those? Okay, so in order to make our position paper more credible, we have to provide a reference list or list of online resources. Okay, so that our future readers can look into these articles and then can analyze also the articles that we have cited. So for them to be able to comprehend also the whole thing. Okay, so you have to make sure that you provide reference list in your position paper. Next, did the writer explain and fairly analyze the strengths and weaknesses of the various sides of the issue? Did the writer consider the different opinions, no, of individuals regarding the issue? Okay, like for example, as what I've said earlier, for example, on the issue of abortion, there are a lot of individuals who support this kind of idea, but there are also others who don't support this. Others who support abortion would say we are protecting the baby from a miserable life that he might be able to experience, no? And also we are protecting the woman, no, from experiencing miserable life of having a baby, especially if she is not ready yet. But others naman on the other hand would say that abortion is a form of murder. You are killing an innocent life. You are taking away a life, no? And we have not right to do that in the first place because we are not God. Okay, so there are different opinions. So you have to research, no, related papers about abortion in order for you to come up with a very good background about the controversial issue. And then after you have presented it, later on, you also have to establish your stand or your claims regarding the issue. How about you? What's your stand? No, do you support abortion or you are against about it? Okay, so you have to explore different opinions. Next, what is the writer's position on the issue? No? Did the writer was able to make his or her stand clear? What is he or she arguing that we readers should or should not do about it? Okay, we have to make our position or our stand clear. Next, what are the writer's reasons for his or her opinion? When we write our position paper, we have to make sure that we provide our readers with ample pieces of evidence in order to to support our claim. Okay, next, did the writer see the objections to or weaknesses in his or her own argument? Okay, did he or she argue strongly in particular point of view or direction? Okay, so we have to look for other point of view or what others have to say about the issue so that we will be able to know who are the researchers who agree with us and or who are the researchers who have stand that is in correlation with our stand, or who are those researchers on the other hand who have contradicting opinion with ours. Okay, so was the paper persuasive? Why or why not? Okay, so the gist is we have to make sure that our position papers, no, are persuasive enough to convince the reader to also support the stand, support our stand in particular. Okay. Next, strategies for structuring your position paper. What are the things that you have that you can follow or do in order for you to have a very good position paper? Number one, you have to define the issue and provide as thorough a background as possible. Okay, state your own position. We have to provide a thorough background about the controversial issue. That's what I'm trying to say earlier. So you have to read other papers or position papers related on the issue so that you will be able to provide a comprehensive or thorough background about the issue. Okay, and then later on, you will have to state your own opinion. Okay, next, discuss and analyze the various positions you have researched. No, you should be able to discuss the positions or the stand of other individuals regarding the issue. You have to ensure that both strengths and weaknesses are taken into account. You should be able to present the strengths and weaknesses of their points. And you should be able to discuss why you consider their stand a strong one and consider their stand a weak one. Okay. Next, discuss your position and analyze its strengths and weaknesses. And then when you present your own stand later on, you also have to analyze what are the strong points of your arguments and what are the weak points of your arguments. Okay, discuss its relevance to other positions and why you have chosen it. After you have given your stand on a particular issue later on, you have to look for what others have to say about it, and you have to correlate it with what they are presenting, or compare it to those who have contradicting opinions with yours. Okay, give reasons why your position and or suggested course of action is the optimum one for all parties involved. Okay, you have to lay down all the reasons why your position is considered as the best position, or your recommended course of action are the best solutions to the problem cited. Okay, that's what you're going to do when you are writing a position paper. Next, what are the characteristics of a good paper or a good position paper? Number one, it has well-determined viewpoint. Okay, so the points should be determined and they should be clear. Next, properly organized paper. Okay, that means to say that the flow of ideas from one paragraph to another, there's a smooth transition and ideas are not scattered but are organized accordingly. Okay, so for example, you have in one paragraph, you have to provide it with content that features the opinions of individuals who are pro on the policy, pro on the curfew hours imposed to the local businesses in Iloilo City. And then on the next paragraph naman, on the other hand, these are the arguments given by these following people or these following researchers. They do not agree with the curfew hours imposed on the local businesses in Iloilo City during the pandemic, and these are the reasons why. Okay, so you have to enumerate something like that. So they should be organized. Next, you have your own distinctive style. Okay, and you should be able to provide a reliable source of information and documentation. What I meant about this is that you have to provide reference lists, so to make your paper reliable. Okay, so you cannot just present your own opinion or your stand without a basis. Okay, so that's why it's important that you cite also the position or stand of other researchers, and especially those who do not agree, so that to show a credible argument. So you don't only present those who are just pro about a policy or about an issue. Okay, so you have to provide reliable source of information and documentation. So you may also provide pictures if that's the case. Okay. Okay. A successful position paper is one that persuades its audience towards its argument. So our main goal when we write our position paper is to convince our audience to believe on our arguments, or to also take the same stand with what we are fighting for. Okay? Reading your paper objectively and asking the same questions of it as you ask of the ones you research will help you avoid the same weaknesses in argument that you may have noticed in papers that you have researched about. Okay, so it's important, no, that the objective questions you ask, no, on the while you were researching on the position papers of others, no, you also have to ask these questions when you already have the final draft, no, of your paper. So you will be able to avoid, no, having the same weaknesses with that of other position papers. Okay. Next, how to organize a position paper. Okay, first one, you should be able to have your own introduction. Okay, you include important history of the issue and do not make this too long. You are just going to provide important or significant information about an issue. Next, argument points. No, you present now educated and informed opinions. When I say educated and informed opinions, you have to include now what others have to say about the issue. Those who support the issue and those who are against the particular issue. No, those who support a particular policy and those who are against a particular policy. No, those who have different views, no, on an ethical dilemma on the negative side and on the positive side. So you have to present argument points coming from different people. Okay, and the third one is the counter argument. No, maybe after the introduction, counter argument, no, the differing opinions, no, coming from different people, or it could also be your own argument, no, your counter argument on the argument, no, of those, no, who presented their own claims or stand on an issue. Okay, so like for example, if others support abortion, no, and you don't support it, so you may provide your counter argument, or you may provide, no, the counter arguments of other individuals in the field of research about the issue. And then fourth one is the conclusions or solutions. No, this is very, very important. Okay, what's the purpose of position paper? It's not only that we are presenting our stand or our position in the issue, it's also for us not to provide or to give recommended solutions, no, in order to solve the problem, no, or a policy, no, or an existing policy or soon to be implemented policy. Okay, so we have to present meaningful solutions that haven't been tried before. And we have to stay consistent with our argument. And you have to feel free to include our original thinking and ideas. Okay, so if we think that this particular course of action will help, then we have to present it, no, at the end part, no, of the position paper. Okay, so write professionally. Okay, the tone and flow, your position paper should come off as respectful and neutral. Okay, so we have to make sure that we do not coerce, no, everyone to we do not coerce everyone, no, to really believe, no, in everything. So we have to still be respectful. If they may not be able to agree with you, do not be rude with your tone, no. Hindi pwede nga duga pangaki gid ikaw sa paper nimo. You can persuade or you can convince other people to believe in what you're standing for without being rude with the tone of your paper. Okay, I hope that you get what I mean. Next, the ideas should flow coherently. No, that means to say there should be a smooth transition from one idea to another. It's cohesive. No, and then you include transitions and you have to write concisely. Your position papers doesn't have to be lengthy at all. No, you should be able to, present it as brief as possible, but you have to make sure that everything are on point or everything is on point. Okay, next, word choice. You have to speak in the third person. Okay, third person point of view kita. Okay, we should avoid speaking from first person point of view. No, but in some cases, no, they also use the first person point of view. Okay, you have to vary word choice. Don't use international 20 times. No, and be very meticulous with your sentence structure, no? Avoid using simple sentences, no, all throughout the paper. You can use compound sentence, complex sentence, and compound complex sentence. So you have to vary the sentence structure as well as your word choice. Do not keep on repeating the words, no? You have to look for other synonymous words, no? Parang may variety kita sa aton word choice. Next, use impressive words if they add to the paper. Okay, so we have to choose the words wisely. But of course, we have to make sure that the words that we are choosing are also appropriate with the paper. We do not just choose the words because they are beautiful to the ears, no, but we choose this particular kind of word because it is the appropriate word to be used for the content. Okay, pro tips, no? Create a works cited page for your own reference and anyone who questions your information. Okay, so you have to just like making a reference list so that if there are people who would question your work, then you can just refer them to the reference list. These are my pieces of evidence. Now, this is where my opinion, it is where my opinion were based. Okay, so that they will not ask much on the credibility of the paper. Next, statistics and quotes, add a professional and practical element to your paper. Ayan, statistical data would provide you with a very good foundation for the paper. So if you can be able to cite statistical data and or quotes, no? Or abalang quotes na ginhambal sang individuals nga during when the curfew hours was imposed, we really had a hard time gaining income for our expenses, no, both for ourselves, for our family, and for our relatives, no. Okay, so that's why they do not agree with, for example, the implementation of curfew hours during the time of pandemic, especially when everything is hard. Okay. Next, sample lang na. So you can cite statistics and quotes in order for you to add ng practicality, no? Practical element in your paper. Next, write as though you are in actual United Nations conference, no? So write as though you are a delegate in a United Nations. Okay, should be able to provide a good background about the issue, the different opinions about the issue, and your stand about the issue, and your recommended solutions, no, later on. Okay. Sige, position paper drill. This is now your assignment. You have to write quick papers on a talk about issue today. So it depends on you on what type of issue you are going to research about. Basta what's important is you can be able to present your stand. No, we have to use the position paper format. We have the topic info, information about the controversial issue or about the topic. No, you'll have to make it up. Your stance or your stand, you provide your stand on that issue, and then your solution to the conflict. Okay, what are your recommended course of action? Okay, don't worry, this is just be a fun way to get acquainted with the format. So Ma'am Jarlene is just, giving you a chance to practice writing a position paper. So you have to arrange it in this manner. The topic information first, and then followed by your stand and your solution to the conflict. Okay, and then later on, you can do pair work or self-check. You can look for a pair or a partner to check your work, and then you have to analyze or look for if the paper is respectful and neutral. Does it include transition words? Okay, are the positions clear and well stated? Does it follow the position paper structure, my topic info, and then your stand, and then the solution provided for the conflict, and then the arguments meaningful, and are you persuaded by the work? Okay, if you cannot find a pair, you may also self-check. You check your own paper, ask, after you have the final draft of your paper, you have to ask, is it respectful and neutral? Does it include transition words? Like for example, mga transition words nato ng transitional devices, na bala nga further, in addition, kung may ga-add kita ideas, in addition, additionally, moreover, but when we present contradicting ideas, on the other hand, while, however, Okay, conversely. Okay, so you have to check for that if you have transition words. And you have to also check if the points are clear, no, and well stated. And of course, you have to check if it follows, no, the format for a position paper, may topic info, and then followed by your stand and your recommended course of action for the problem. Okay, arguments meaningful, or are you persuaded by the work? Okay, but I suggest that you really have to look for a pair because sometimes we might be biased, no? Sometimes if mag self-check lang kita, we may not be able to see what is lacking because for us it's already good or it's already perfect. Okay, so for checking, we can have the pair work or self-check. Okay, do you have questions? Okay, I will provide you with an example of a position paper. I will just send it, no, to your group chat, or if I already have an access to Canvas, I can also upload it on Canvas. Okay, so if you have no questions anymore, you may now proceed writing your own position papers. Okay, so on the meetings that we have left for the week, please use our time schedule to research on a particular controversial issue that you want to write about and start writing your position paper. You will have to submit it by December, but the deadline is not announced yet. Ma'am Jerlyn will be the one to announce when. Okay, thank you so much. Goodbye, everyone.